Hello, everybody, and welcome again to the Armchair QB Show. I am your host, Bill the Thrill Breed. And with me, as always, is my co-host, Mike the Dumpster Divine.
You get the thrill, and I get the dumpster?
Well, I couldn't think of anything else on the fly there.
Well, I mean, it's your show. You can call me where the hell you want. So, Mike the Dumpster Divine. All right, it works, you know?
There was a wrestler back in the day named Duke the Dumpster Drosy. Do you remember him by chance?
That I don't. I know some obscure wrestler lore, not as good as you.
Well, there was another Duke the Dumpster, but that's another story for another time. But, yeah, there's like a whole subculture of wrestling fans that still love Duke the Dumpster.
I was always amazed with you with wrestling trivia. I remember, this is when I think you were at Columbus State, I think, too. Yeah. And I remember, we were both kind of struggling at the time. And I remember, like, your grades are probably what mine were my first year of college. And I remember going, man, if, like, you could just apply this knowledge, like, outside of, like, wrestling,
just use your
you'd be a fucking
good
genius.
Instead of evil, you know.
It'd always be like, Bill, what was the square root of 35? I don't know. So what was the WrestleMania, opening event? I'm talking the pre-pay-per-view event.
Right.
Opener, 1987. Well, you see, Mike, that was...
And speaking of which, I'd like to announce that we will be doing a WrestleMania special show here in a couple weeks to commemorate the upcoming WrestleMania season, where we will talk about it all.
We should almost do like a live reaction after WrestleMania.
We were going to go backstage at WrestleMania, but then I remembered that we weren't invited.
Well, I do have press passes. I do have a press pass for the reporters.
For WrestleMania?
No, I could technically, I mean, it's a press pass. I mean, it can be used anywhere.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, pretty much. Nice. Yeah, it's official. It's like a picture and barcode and scanner and everything.
No offense, but that kind of sounds made up.
I wish.
Okay.
No, I mean, it was sent to me. I don't know.
You're America's counselor. They're on Gray Matters Radio.
Who
am I to deny you?
Well, one of the Ginger McCaffrey on the Voice Radical Center, she's one of our contributors on the reporters, and she actually used to get into a couple political events.
Nice, dude.
She flashed it like, well, we're full, and she flashed it. It's like, oh, come this way.
Well then,
yeah,
I'm official. I'm on the list.
Yeah. But yeah, we should do a live reaction.
We'll figure, or even before, just like a prediction, or I don't care. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
It's WrestleMania.
It's WrestleMania. Yeah. It's your show. You do what the hell you want.
No rules. Rules? No.
This ain't Nam, all right? Yeah, there are rules here.
Oh, boy. It's too early for this. So, right after we did last week's show, I mean,
literally right after.
And I was making fun of Cleveland for not being able to get Odell Beckham because apparently they originally had offered the Giants a shitty trade that they laughed at. I mean, like 2-3 hours later,
they completed the trade.
Odell Beckham is a Cleveland Brown.
I can't believe that.
How do you feel about that? I mean, they have Baker Mayfield, who he's a good quarterback. I'm gonna stop short and not say yet that he's gonna live up to the hype he could.
Yeah.
But he's had one season.
Yeah.
They have Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, mind you, week 9 they'll have him.
He's out for half the season.
Yeah.
For beating up a female, allegedly, but it was on video. So
Bill's on video.
I mean, right. The weird thing about Hunt, before we get into Odell Beckham, is Hunt. He's only 23.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's a young man. You got Baker Mayfield, who's about 23.
It's a young core, man.
Beckham. He's arguably him and Brown up there, 1-2 receivers in the league. Definitely top 5. I mean, the Browns.
Yeah, well, they got Jarvis Landry, too, on the other side. I mean, you got to look at it. It's a formidable receiving core, man.
Now, you're not a Browns fan. I'm not a Browns fan either, so I think we can kind of look at it, even though we're both from Ohio, I think we can still look at it on a independent kind of.
I'll root for the Browns. They're kind of like the kid in high school you didn't like, but you felt sorry for because they were getting beat up. And
all of a sudden he's lifted some weights and he took a taekwondo class.
Yeah, it's good to see.
Now he's whipping some ass.
Yeah, so it's good to see that they're doing good. Plus, as an Eagles fan, I don't know what it's like to be a moribund franchise with no hope at all. So it's nice to see that they're actually putting together a real team. They got uniforms and everything. It's weird.
Let me ask you this. Do the Browns, barring an injury, because we all know that an injury changes everything. Do the Browns make the playoffs next year?
Yes. I called it last year, and I go, just that team on paper, I go, anywhere from 7-9 to 9-7. And I think if they would have so much as won one of those tiebreakers, they were a playoff team.
Oh yeah, they were there.
I am willing to put a prediction out there right now. I think the Browns at the very worst will be 10-6.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they're going to make a solid run. I'm liking it because
so you think the Browns win the AFC North?
Yeah, I think
I almost called the AFC Central.
That's what I was like. I had to think there. You know what? Yeah, I think if you look at all the teams in that division, I think they could eat it depending. Because Kansas City might be in a lot of trouble. They've lost a lot of playmakers.
I think Pittsburgh.
Tariq Hill.
I think Pittsburgh's in a lot of trouble. I hate to
Pittsburgh's
say it.
in a lot of trouble.
They lost
Kansas
Bell
City.
and Brown.
Well, think about Tariq Hill might be suspended. I know he's alleged. You gotta look at. I think Kansas City.
What did he do again? I was reading something about
there was I don't know if it was a son or stepson, adopted son, whatever, broke his arm due to domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
His name wasn't listed, but the police were called. So there's no video. There's no reports yet, but
broke his arm.
Yeah, like someone broke the kid's arm.
Someone.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think Kansas City will be in a lot of trouble. Pittsburgh's in a lot of trouble. Baltimore. Well, Baltimore is what, east, right?
Well, if they can keep their quarterback from going 105 miles an hour on the freeway.
Yeah, that's a problem. So yeah, I think the Browns won the North, and I think barring anything.
Say it.
I could see them in the AFC Championship game.
Nice.
I could see them totally. I think they're going to be solid, man.
I think you're right. I think if they can hold out until Hunt gets there.
Yeah.
And I mean they're going to be talented anyway.
Yeah.
But I think Hunt coming in at week 9, as long as he's not rusty, overweight, doesn't have more suspensions, whatever.
They got to fix that offensive line though. They got to fix it. Well, but it's not a good draft.
The draft is coming up. Well, I know, but
it's a defensive draft.
The thing about Cleveland though now is they've turned the corner in regards to perception.
Yep.
They have a new coach.
Mm-hmm.
They from last year. It's now a destination. Place. It's a culture change.
There's a buzz. I think.
Yeah.
Well, I think about it. Winning changes a lot, but I think having a quarterback, having a good young quarterback. I mean, you have to look at with Philly, with the Eagles. There were players purposely going to Philly and taking less money because of the quarterback, the coach. I mean, Brandon Graham signed with the Eagles, and he said, "I took less to stay here."
Right.
Deshaun Jackson, I wanted to come back. I want to be part of this team. So it's, man. I mean, that changes a lot with the culture. So I'm actually excited to see it. I mean, I'm a football fan through and through. Of course, I'm a diehard bleed green, but yeah, I think Cleveland is going to make a good run at it, man.
I think you're right. I think they are going to surprise some people, and I think that they, I think they're going to do well next year, barring an injury or barring some kind of, suspension.
There is a but, though.
Well, there's always a but.
It's Odell Beckham, man. If there's any wide receiver,
the man that was photographed with lines of coke,
in a pepperoni pizza.
How do you let that get out in public?
I don't know, man. He's an idiot. So that's the only problem that you got is that when he don't get the rock as much as he wants, I mean, he is going to chew up a young quarterback, and if they allow him to beat up mentally on Baker, that's a big drawback to it. So,
well, if I'm Cleveland's coach, GM, owner, brass, what have you, and I mean Odell Beckham is a talented player, obviously, but if you make me choose between the present, which is, Odell, or the future, which is their quarterback, and you have to choose one, I'm going to choose the quarterback that's the future.
Yeah,
Baker Mayfield. And again, so I not that you would have to choose one, but if it for some reason came down to that, and I'm managing, I'm going, well, what are we going to change here? We're not changing our quarterback. We're going to change our receiver because it's a heck of a lot easier, I think, to find a really good receiver than is a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. That definitely, that changes the balance of power. My Lord.
Yeah.
That changes a lot of things. I mean, it was just an interesting free agency in general. I mean, there were teams everyone thought were going to make moves that didn't make anything. Like, what was Green Bay thinking? Aaron Rodgers is literally no one to throw to the last 4 years, and what do they do for him? Nothing.
You're right.
Nothing. I mean, literally didn't even make a play for anybody.
I don't know what they're doing there. Again, as a Bears fan, I'm like, yep, that's a shame.
They're playing like a small market team almost. I don't get it. How do you have one of the best quarterbacks in the league and consistently
Some people say of all time.
Yeah, and don't put any team around him, offensive or defensively.
Only time will tell. You know, right now we're cursing them and saying you guys are idiots, but if they go 10-6 or 11-5, they're like, well, they know what they're doing. I don't think they will, but if they do.
She wants to be an astronaut. I don't think he can do it.
History is written by the winner, you know. So, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I think exciting things are in Cleveland, you know. Again, being from Ohio, being around a lot of Browns fans my entire life, just to see the pain and personal agony that they go through year after year. The team went away at one point. They went away.
And that's like the ultimate. I mean, like, being an Eagles fan, we've had it bad, but we never lost our team. I mean, there are teams that we wished we lost.
They were being in school, and it was gone. And it was like a year later, like the following winter, and kids were still wearing their Browns jackets. And I was like, and at that point, we didn't know they were coming back. Well, I guess they said they were keeping the name, but you didn't know when they were coming back. And I remember thinking, dude, let it go. Like, they're gone.
It was just bad. I mean, it'd be like, you know, like a 5-year-old, you know, like parents can't afford to get any like presents for Christmas, and then telling the kid, oh, by the way, there is no Santa Claus. It's like, he's already not getting anything. Now you're going to take that away.
Well, nowadays, back then there wasn't online sales of stuff. You know, there wasn't.
Oh yeah.
Right? Can you imagine how that happened today? Like all Brown stuff.
Imagine Twitter with Art Modell.
Well, if the Browns had left town, say today. And all of a sudden you go to the website, all Browns gear 90% off. You can't give it away, right? You know what I mean? It's back then I can't imagine what the paraphernalia was going for. Now it's probably historical, you know?
Oh, God.
Because someone somewhere has probably, well, I guess they didn't have it then. I was going to say they printed up the 1996 season or whatever year they left. Wait, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know? Well, you live and you learn. I saw one guy at the VA, older gentleman. This is probably about a year or two ago. And he had a Cleveland Browns shirt. And this guy was probably in his 60s or 70s, you know, at the Veterans Administration there. It took my dad, and his shirt says, just one before I die. Talking about the Super Bowl.
Man.
I was like, damn, that is a starved city. Say what you want about LeBron. At least he brought them a championship. I know it was another sport, but LeBron James did it. That guy, it was a brown shirt, though. Just one before I die.
Just one.
I was like, damn. I know.
That's sad. Not the cure for cancer. Just no.
That's it.
One before I die.
And I got to tell you, this was an older gentleman, so I'm not sure how much more
time he had. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you never know. It's
So hopefully he's still around and he's feeling good about this year.
He could be still around, and yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so yeah, moving on. Today, the NCAA brackets came out.
Oh, the old March Madness.
I'll tell you what now. Have you had a chance to review any of this by chance? I know
I have not. We were recording our other show earlier, so.
Just hot off the presses. I know by the time this makes press, it'll probably be a day or two later, but we have Virginia, North Carolina, Duke, and Gonzaga. All the top seeds. Now, this is not really a surprise to anyone that follows college basketball. These were, excellent teams throughout the year. So, not really a surprise. My personal opinion, as I'm sure a lot of people do, but my opinion is I like the Blue Devils to win it all this year.
The Blue Devils?
Well, I think Zion Williamson, their stud they got there, who, by the way, he was, what year he was born? Get ready to feel old. He was born in the year 2000.
Stop it.
I swear.
God, that makes me feel so old.
This guy is going to be the number one pick in the draft if he leaves. Of course, he's going to leave because you're the number one pick. I think that the Blue Devils go with him, and I think he leads them to the promised land. That's my opinion. Barring as long as his shoe doesn't blow out again like it did. Did you see that?
Dude, how did I not see that? I'm still.
Did you see that Nike?
Is he still playing with Nikes, or is he playing with something else now?
He was playing with some player the other day they mentioned. Yeah, he was still playing with Nike because I think Duke has a shoe contract with them. So.
I've realized about Nikes, So growing up, we always like Air Jordans, Nikes. I mean, they always looked coolest, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always wore them, and I remember the last pair of Nikes that I bought were really uncomfortable. And I remember my wife was saying something that one of the doctors at her hospital were saying how awful Nikes are for fit in your feet, right? So I went out and just bought a new pair of Under Armour tennis shoes.
Oh.
The single greatest pair of tennis shoes
I
have ever worn. They were like clouds on my feet, and I finally realized how awful Nike is. And then I started thinking about, was it Zion, right?
Yep.
And I was like, no wonder why those fuckers blew out.
Zion Williamson. Well, it was a freak. It was one of those just freak occurrences. You know what it reminded me of? For those that ever saw the movie The Sandlot, when the one kid, he hit the home run, or he busted the guts out of the baseball.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, man, that's like only like 5 guys in history have ever done that. And he was like, yeah, that's what it reminded me of when I saw it, because I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's pretty incredible. But then as the people were talking about it and the commentators and everyone, they're like, yeah, this has never happened before. I'm like, really? Never? Like, never.
I've never seen.
Well, I know, but I didn't know that was.
Yeah, I've seen like weird. I mean,
and he got injured. He had to leave the game because of that.
Yeah, I've seen weird shit. I mean, like I remember it was Scott Mielecki. He had undiagnosed bone cancer and threw a pitch and his arm snapped.
Oh.
Yeah, and they said people on the upper deck hurt. I've seen that. I've seen Randy Johnson hit a bird midair.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've never seen a person's shoe explode.
I've
seen a tire explode on a car in a race.
It was like the opening minute of the game. It was a big game. President Obama was in the crowd. Like all these celebrities. Like it was like a big deal, and he just all to see him. They're all there to see him. And don't get me wrong, it was a good game. But...
That'd be like there were times we were late to baseball games or whatever, or football. Imagine like being late, going, "Where's Zion? This is the only reason I came." And I missed it.
Yeah, he went out in like 38 seconds. Weren't you pitching tonight? I did. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't turn it on to the second inning. Oh.
It was like the time I went and saw it an Eagles game in Dallas, and running late, of course. And I was like, how the hell did the Cowboys get the ball? Oh, the Eagles tried to fake onside and they lost it. Oh, must have missed that one.
What was that like, going to the Cowboys game, living in Dallas? Because I know you were wearing your Eagles gear. And I know you were loud and proud.
So it was awesome, because the first... So the first year I went was the Eagles Super Bowl season, right?
Okay.
So I lost all respect for Cowboys fans, even more lost respect because the Cowboys were sucky that year. And the thing you have to understand about Cowboys fans is that they're only fans when the team is good. The Rangers didn't exist when they sucked. No one went to Cowboys game. It was so bad,
really,
that it was 70% Eagles fans in there.
This was prior to Jerry's World, right?
Yeah. It was the old, and literally 70% Eagles fans. Every time the Eagles scored, it was the Terrell Owens Monday Night Football one.
Oh,
that was that game.
That one where he was kneeling in the star.
Yeah. No. It was when they did the.
That was in.
They did like some like Desperate Housewives intro to it.
Oh yeah.
It was the year we went to the Super Bowl, and
okay.
Literally, we were all doing the Fly Eagles Fly cheer, and I was sitting there going, "How
does that go? How's that cheer go?
Fly Eagles fly on the road to victory. Fight Eagles fight. Score a touchdown. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hit them low. Hit them high. Watch our Eagles fly. Fly Eagles fly on the road to victory. EAGLES Eagles. Yeah. But yeah, so I was sitting there going, "How in your own hometown do you let 70% of your stadium be filled with the opposing team?"
Well,
it's shameless.
Mike, sometimes you just got to say, what the hell? Your team's looking bad, not doing so well.
Not in Philly. We'll come and boo.
I know.
We'll come and show you our displeasure.
Some of those ticket prices, though, man, I mean, I got to tell you, they are through the roof. So if your team's not doing so hot, people are like, I'm not paying $105 for a ticket or whatever it is, plus another $25 to park.
Oh, dude. Oh, Jerry World. I didn't go.
$9 for a beer. Come on.
Dude, I did not go to Jerry World for that reason. Out of principle.
$6 for a hot dog. Like, what are you talking
$40 to park, mind you.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, just take your pick, but it's you pay all these athletes a lot of money, and they deserve it. I mean, because if they're making that much, imagine how much the owners are making.
Yeah, of course.
But, I mean, they price themselves out. Try pricing a Super Bowl ticket at face value. Just price it out. It's several $100s a ticket.
Oh, yeah.
That's insane. So...
Oh, you can't afford it, man. I don't care how much money you have. I mean, for a family of 4 to go to a game, you can't afford it, dude.
Well, the athletes make a lot of money. They talk about maybe paying the college students. I'm against it. Not that I'm against people making money. I just kind of think, you know what? with college education, what the cost is today, guys are on a scholarship. You get a free education. I mean, it's all voluntary. I mean, you're not being taken advantage of. You agree to do this.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Gosh, yeah, that's I'm torn.
I would be okay. Here's my concern with paying the athlete. This is what the root of it is. It's not them getting paid in of itself. I like college, and I know that sometimes there are violations, and kids are getting paid through money or cars or. Right, I'm realistic. I understand that. The thing that I'm concerned with is if they say, all right, we're going to pay the kids this, that, or the other, or we're going, even worse, we're going to allow the schools to determine who's getting paid what up to a certain amount. There'll be rules and regulations. The moment that, say, North Carolina in basketball has outbid, say, Duke, and the kid goes to North Carolina strictly because they're offering more money, that's going to kill college sports for me. Because then it becomes the NBA. It becomes the NFL. And there's nothing wrong with making a profit. But the thing I like about college is it seems like it's more level. It's equal. And I know it's not equal. Okay? You're not going to sit here and tell me that the University of Akron is equal with the Ohio State University in terms of recruiting and facilities and athletics. I understand that. But the moment it becomes a money thing, because, I went here or I'm transferring because Georgia's going to give me a raise and Clemson won't pay when I'm asking, or you have a player sit out over money, you're gonna kill it. And that will happen. I hate to say it, that will happen.
But the thing is, like,
God forbid a player goes on strike. A team, we're only making $300 a game or whatever it is. And they go on strike.
So this is a problem, though, I think, with the whole paying. I think if you look at it from a fan perspective, you can kind of sit there and go, well, maybe. But I look at, like, when I was a grad student, man, like in Texas, man, like, dude, the reason why I owe so much in student loans is because the state had, like, no money to pay us stipends, which most people doing research get. Mm-hmm. Our tuition rates are going up every single year. And so I look at it from a perspective of, so you have a student who is working 80 hours a week, getting their PhD in molecular, pharmacology or something to try to find a cure to cancer. And imagine then not only are they paying $100 and some grand because their tuition keeps going up every year, then on top of that, they don't get any money to do research and whatever, but they get the one dude that's only going to be there for 4 years. Who knows if he even gets his diploma? He gets paid to be there on top of having a free education. And on top of that, every other student who is paying more for it's like, from that perspective, I'm like, that's a tough pill to swallow. And then think about if you're a parent and your tuition keeps going up, mm-hmm. Are you going to be sitting there going and wondering if they're raising tuition so they can play these payers more?
Right.
Just like my beer is $15, so they can pay Odell Beckham $20 million.
I agree. I kind of feel like that's one of the things that differentiates college athletics from professional. Is it's just, I don't know, nothing against them making a buck. I'm a capitalist. I'm all for it, but it is a little heartbreaking when one of your favorite players leaves strictly for money, or something along those lines. I'm just like, come on, just keep it pure. I feel like those college athletes, at least it feels like they're there because for the love of the game. I'm not saying it's all that, but it feels that way. It feels more pure to me for some reason. I can't put my finger on it. And I love the NFL. I love me some NFL, but I like college NCAA football just a hair more. I just do. It just feels. I don't know if pure is the right word to use.
I think I think a lot of it depends on where you grew up, because I think
that's true.
My family's all from East Coast, so it was when you're East Coast or pro sports is everything, whereas in Columbus,
that's right,
you didn't really have, and so I think that's why I think it's depending. If you look at a lot of places in Texas where there wasn't a pro team, and college is everything, hell, high school is everything. So I think it really depends on where you grow up, of like what you really kind of resonate with you. Mm-hmm. I love college football. I do love it in a lot of different ways, but it's you're talking about like March Madness, and I look at how much money people make, then you kind of going like, well, dude, should these players make a little money? But then I'm looking at, well, majority of these guys it's like an internship. You don't get paid much, but you know that job is going to help. That's what I look at. College football, college basketball is an internship.
Yep.
It's an internship to where you don't make crap, but out of that internship, you get that job.
You get a free education.
Yeah, and you get a free education.
So you don't say you don't get anything. I mean,
yeah.
What's the average tuition a year?
Now, I mean, hell, Ohio State's $22,000 a year, room and board. So all intents and purposes with books, it's $100,000. It's the way I look at it, dude. You got $100,000.
Yep.
So what the fuck are you complaining about?
Or I would be okay with them setting a across the board, like some kind of revenue sharing for the entire NCAA. So that way you can't have a Florida State or a USC or a Texas or an Ohio State able to pay more than the smaller schools, but saying we're going to put it into a giant pool and we're going to have like a revenue sharing thing, and then we're just going to say, okay, every player that plays gets X number of dollars, and then maybe something like that would be okay. I'd be okay with that.
I mean, I'm all about maybe like revenue sharing with like merchandise. That's maybe like, but I would say put it into a trust.
Yes.
Yeah, like when they graduate,
perfect.
And have it paid out over their, that to me, or if you're not on scholarship, so I'm about something like that.
Yeah, that'd be okay. I'd be okay with that. I just think the first time you have someone leave a school because one school can pay more, or there's a strike, or I'm like, you're gonna kill it.
Exactly.
Kill it.
Yeah, you can't do that. I mean, it's
at least to me. Maybe not to everyone, but that's my opinion. But anyway, that's what I think on it, and. So moving on, let's see what else has been going on here lately. I've been trying to keep up. I don't know how much UFC you like to watch.
I try to watch a little UFC.
Yeah.
UFC is kind of tough for me because we grew up boxing, right?
Right.
And heavyweight boxing, right?
Well, in a great era.
Yeah, it's a great era. And then heavyweight division crumbled, and then boxing kind of in of itself crumbled, and then UFC became the big thing.
Yep.
And so it's kind of like more feeling late to the game.
Yeah.
With UFC, but I love me some UFC, man. I love watching it.
Well, Daniel Cormier, he's the current heavyweight champ.
Yeah.
Badass, right?
Yeah.
He's getting ready to turn 40, or maybe he's turned 40 by the time this hits the air. He has said that he is going to retire by his 40th birthday. He's done. He wants to get out of the game. Yeah. He's got some, commentating gigs lined up, rightfully so. But he wants one more payday before he retires.
Makes sense.
And he says he wants it against Broc Lesnar, who is the UFC all-time. Well, Conor McGregor's up there too, but the cash cow pay-per-view king.
But he's lost a lot of big. Brock has lost a lot of big matches.
Well, sure he has. He's only, I think he's like, his overall record is like 5-3-1. No decision, and that was. But you got to understand that the 3 losses he had, all 3 of them were to like world champions.
But to me, like I look at Brock Lesnar is kind of like the Sam Bradford of the UFC. Everyone keeps like paying him like these big fights, but he doesn't really perform all that good. He loses a lot of big games.
He whooped Frank Mir's ass, whooped his ass. I mean, he whooped a couple, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's technically speaking the greatest ever fight, but he's got that draw. He's got that Tyson-esque
he's
aura to him, to where it's like people want to see him because they know that if he kills a guy, he's going to kill a guy.
Yeah. But
you're right, though. He does lose. But you understand, though, he didn't start at like a lower level. He kind of jumped right in there. His second fight ever, was against a former world heavyweight champion. Now imagine, no matter if you went to go do a sport, any sport, whether it was a team sport, individual sport, and your second match game ever,
it's a big deal,
was against the former world champions, the Patriots or whoever. Yeah, maybe they're a year or two removed from their but still, and go. I mean, he just jumped right in. I think that spoke volumes to me on just his athleticism. Like anyway, my point was going to be that Cormier, there are the number one contendership. It's not Lesnar. He's fought like one time in the last 3 or 4 years, I think, maybe longer than that. That was ruled a no decision, no contest. He tested positive for a banned substance. He's back in the pool. Cormier's out injured, but he wants Lesnar. Junior Dos Santos, who just won his fight and is arguably the number one contender, the former champ, Stipe, he wants a rematch. Lester's basically jumping these people. Dana White's like, yep, great guys, but guess what? Now, my question is, does the champ, should he have, being his final fight, should he have the ability to kind of pick his opponent?
No, it should. No? I think it should be like in boxing, man. Yeah. Whoever that number one contender is.
Well, let me ask you this. Since Lesnar would be undoubtedly a bigger pay-per-view draw than Dos Santos or Stipe would be, he just would.
Yeah.
Is Dana White just simply giving the fans what they want? Because more people are going to pay to see that.
Yeah, but it's...
Is it spectacle? Is it spectacle over what's quote-unquote fair?
See, I'm a purist, man. I really think, like, and this is why I love boxing. It's like, if you
love boxing, have you met Don King?
I mean, it's just, but you'd always, I mean, now there might have been some shadiness with the rankings, but it always came down to, like, I mean, imagine if, like, the champ was like, I don't want to fight the number one contender. Right. It's like, dude, like, you would lose your belt. I mean, like, literally, it's like, a lot of times you don't have a choice.
I hear you.
That's how it should be. Now, given I understand it's a business, it's entertainment, but the way I look at it, I mean, but maybe I'm different. I tune in to see the two biggest badasses go at it.
Right. And that's what I think they're looking at.
Yeah, and so I want to see the guy who has the best chance of beating him. So if that's Junior Dos Santos, it's Junior Dos Santos then.
Who's another former champion. I mean, don't get me wrong. I kind of feel like when it comes to combat sports, boxing, UFC, things like that, I kind of feel like if you're the former champion, maybe you're not the number one contender at the time, but you held the title, I kind of feel like you always should be in the hunt for the title. You know what I mean? Like, you should have almost like that opportunity to saying, not every time, but I mean, like, in this instance, Lester hasn't fought a lot, but he was a former world champion. He isn't an absolute nobody.
Yeah, but then he needs to fight somebody to earn the right to be the contender then.
That's
I mean,
true.
you have to earn it. I mean, that's just the way it needs to always kind of be. Because, you want to do things for entertainment, but what's the difference between that and then, like, MLB or NFL going, well, we would rather see a New York market and an LA market, and so what can we do to make it to where those two teams are going to play? It's like it wouldn't play well in those sports, right? It doesn't matter if it's a small market team that nobody wants to see play. If those are the two best teams playing, that's just how it needs to be. And it's up to you then as a marketer to market the fucking thing to where it's going to make money then.
Absolutely.
You know?
Well,
that's just, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at it like kind of narrowly, but that's just, I don't know how I am with this, man.
Well, and that's, again, the argument will continue. Being a bunch of armchair quarterbacks ourselves, that's what we do.
That's what we do.
I have the right answer. You think you have the right answer.
That's why we don't get paid the big bucks, Bill. that is
Wait,
why.
You're getting paid for this?
No, I thought you were.
I thought we had to pay to be on the air. Did you write that check?
I thought you did.
It bounced.
Fuck.
Son of a bitch.
On that note, look at the time.
Well, folks, well, as always, it's been our pleasure here to bring to you our thoughts and opinions. And please sure to tune in next week. We will talk more NCAA tournaments.
We will. A lot going on.
Absolutely. I want to talk the Friday the 13th and their lawsuits and why a new one can't get made there.
And NFL draft is going to be kind of ramping up here soon.
And we have Major League Baseball opening day. Definitely talk about that.
Oh, then we got to hit that one up because I'm excited about my Mets this year.
I know. The Reds looking pretty good.
Actually, it might be. Now, they don't come to Cincy until August, man.
We'll check it out. Check it out. Well, folks, thank you again for joining us. On behalf of myself, Bill Reed, and Michael Devine from Gray Matters Radio, thank you very much for joining us, and we will catch you all next week.